What up, everybody, and welcome to Tale of the Tape, brought to you by Gym Bag Entertainment, and this is your combat sports show by guys who love combat sports. As always, it's your host, your boy Craig, here with my co-host,
your lamenter of last chances.
Ooh,
because this card is filled with them.
Filled.
Not just veterans, but younger guys that need to stay afloat, things like that.
All right, well, and this is a deep
It
card.
really is. 13 fight card.
On a fight night.
With a lot of good names.
Yeah.
I mean, good matchups, too. Like
A lot of up-and-coming stars up in here. So
yeah, and people on skids, though. Like I said, last chance for some of them.
All right, UFC Fight Night Overeem versus Volkov, Saturday, February 6th at 8 p.m. and the prelims starting at 5, so this is an early one. Get your day started early. In the beginning of the card, in the prelims, featherweight division, Ode Osborne 8-3 with 1 no contest, going up against 10-4 Jerome Rivera.
Yeah, Old Osborne is a fill-in, I believe. I don't remember who Rivera's original opponent was, but I'm pretty sure he's filling in last notice here, short notice. But yeah, the prelim starts so early because I think it's super long. Like,
yeah, super
it's
long.
Most of the card. But,
and it's in the Apex Arena, so it's not a time thing.
Right, so it's cool. Osborne, contender winner. He's 0-1 in the UFC, though. He lost his debut to Brian Kelleher.
Yeah.
But he's been inactive completely since then, because that was in last January.
Wow, so he hasn't fought in a year.
But it was a round 1 guillotine, I remember it. It was pretty nice. And Jerome Rivera, 0-2 in the UFC, also a contender winner. So this guy shined on the contender, but haven't done nothing since they got in the big show.
Okay.
He's got a big KO loss to Tyson Nam in August. And then December, we just seen him fight Francisco Figueiredo, Davidson's younger brother, which he had a decent fight, but Figueiredo got the better of him in the decision. That was on the 20th of January, so it's a quick turnaround. I don't know, man. This is like one of them fights I said, like, these guys might be...
Yeah, they're on the ropes right
fighting
now.
to hang on, you know? And, I don't know, I haven't seen anything I like from Old Osborne. Brian Kelleher, obviously a great fighter.
Yeah, and he hasn't fought in over a year.
I don't like inactivity, so I'll go with Jerome Rivera, even though he's coming off 2 losses.
I'll agree with you on that.
I just like the activity.
So, in the featherweight division, Choi Seung-woo, 8-3, going up against the 10-3, Yusuf Zalal. Such an exciting fighter, such a prominent name, like, even though he rose quickly, so far down on the card.
I agree. I think, because, I mean, we're pretty much MMA purists.
Yeah.
Like, we don't watch for the names that people tell us to. We see good skill and we latch on to them fighters.
Yeah.
You know, but when you look at his resume in the UFC, you think, like, because when we think of him, we think, oh, he's had great fights.
Yeah.
He has, but he's got decision wins against Austin Lingo, Jordan Griffin's bitch ass that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
And Peter Barrett, which that's not heavy competition. You
Correct.
know, never got himself a finish. Showed great heart in his 1 loss in the UFC last fight against Ilia Topuria, but Topuria was on short notice.
Yeah.
And it kind of looked like if he wasn't on short notice, Zalal might have been in trouble.
In real trouble, yeah.
So
that's true.
That makes him 3-1 in the UFC, but like I said, we know he's got great skill. He's a great up-and-comer. He's putting it all together. Yeah, it's far down on the prelim. Still, with that being said, I agree. You know, he should be up a little higher. Choi Seung-woo, he's 1-2 in the UFC. So maybe the back against the wall a little bit. I don't think that's, you know, a fair fight for Yusuf. I think he should have got a better opponent, especially because this guy has not been active. He's got decision loss versus Movsar Evloev, submission loss versus Gavin Tucker. Finally got a decision win in December of 2019 against Suman Mokhtarian. I think this is kind of a snub for Yusuf.
Wow. Or, you know, a return for Seung-woo, obviously, if he hasn't fought since 2019.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Yusuf's allowed. If he doesn't win this fight, that'd be pretty sad.
Right, it could be back against the wall for him too,
Mhm.
even though he only has one loss in the UFC.
Wow. All right, in the women's flyweight division, Molly McCain 10-3, going up against 6-1 Lara Procopio.
Yes. Procopio 0-1 in the UFC.
Wow.
Decision loss versus Carol Rosa in August of 2019. Another person with inactivity.
That's why I didn't recognize her name.
Molly Meatball McCann. She's 3-2 in the UFC. Another just person that we like to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hasn't had the best of luck. However, she had a submission loss to Jillian Robertson in her debut, but then 3 nice decision wins: Priscilla Cachoeira, Ariane Lipsky,
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah.
Diana Belbita. That's quality competition.
Yep.
And then she had a decision loss against Tyler Santos in July. But I'm definitely going with Meatball here in this fight.
It's tough, too, because I like the Meatball.
It's tough when you haven't seen
Yeah.
a fighter who has only one loss.
And Carol Rosa, tough competition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give Lara a chance.
Yeah, because you look at Molly, she started in the UFC with a loss.
Yeah.
And then rifled off 3 decision wins in a row. So maybe Procopio's on the way to that. But I'm going with the Meatball.
All right. Women's bantamweight division. Speaking of her, Carol Rosa, 13-3, going up against the rising star, 10-2, Jocelyn Edwards, making a quick turnaround.
Very quick turnaround. January 16th made her debut, and on the Max Holloway card on ABC with a nice decision versus Wu Yanan. Showed a lot of good stuff. Great striking. Carol Rosa with the decision win over Procopio, as I said, and a decision win against Vanessa Mello this past July, which was good too. So she's 2-0. These are 2 up-and-comers. This is
In honor of Black History Month, Jocelyn Edwards.
I think she's the better pick from what we've seen from her. But that's even better.
Yeah. In the catchweight division, Devontae Smith, 10-2, going up against 16-6, Justin James.
Catchweight 160. I don't know if this was one of them filled in short notice. I don't really know. So.
I feel like usually catchweights are that, because I feel like neither one of you can make weight, like they scrap.
Or at least one of them couldn't make weight, so they, the other guy was like, okay, I'll let him go at 160, and then he can stop cutting weight. You know what I mean?
That's valid.
But Devontae Smith, 2-1 in the UFC, contender winner. He had a round 1 KO versus Julian Erosa and a round 1 KO versus Dong Hyun Ma, which is impressive.
Yeah.
And then he was Kama Worthy's first victim back in August of 2019.
Man.
Quick round 1 KO.
Yeah.
So he either puts you out in round 1 or gets put out. So he goes for it. 2-1 in the UFC. Justin James, the opposite, 1-2 in the UFC. His debut KO'd Frank Camacho with that big hook. It was gorgeous.
Yep.
And but then he lost by submission to Gavin Tucker. And then he got TKO'd with that body kick by Gabriel Benitez in December. That was nasty.
I feel like Gavin Tucker got 2 submissions on this card.
Yeah. From people against. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go with the knockout artist.
I'm going to go with Smith for sure, rebounding. Haven't seen him since August 2019, which is interesting.
In the featherweight division, Timur Valiev, 16-2 with 1 no contest, going up against 8-5 Martin Day.
This is definitely a, like I said, back against the wall type of fight. Timur Valiev, 0-0-1 in the UFC. His no contest is his only UFC fight.
Wow.
He did technically, to me, get KO'd by Trevin Jones in August, but then Jones tested positive for marijuana. Give me a break.
They're working on getting rid of that, though.
They are.
They're not going to test for marijuana
Most states aren't doing it anymore. They don't have it across the United States or across some different countries, but other countries are jumping on board and stuff too, where they have it already legalized.
It's about time.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Trevin Jones didn't have any performance enhancement from smoking some weed.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So,
Correct.
come on. And he KO'd Teamer early in the first round, but it gets switched to a no contest. Anyways, Martin Day 0-3 in the UFC.
0-3?
Yeah.
How has he even got a contract still?
Decision losses to Ping Yuan Liu, KO loss versus Davey Grant, and Anderson Dos Santos in November. His last KO loss. So 2 KO losses in a row.
I got no faith in this guy.
Yeah, I mean, both of them getting knocked out, but
Martin Day, 3
Teamer
losses
less
in a row.
times getting knocked out.
Yeah. You just got to go with the less.
I guess.
He ain't got no losses.
They fighting for the job, though.
They are fighting for the job.
He ain't got the loss in the UFC like this dude does. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, in the light heavyweight division, Mike Rodriguez 11-5 with 1 no contest, going up against 10-2 Danilo Marquez.
Yeah, Mike Rodriguez, I really like.
Yep.
Tough
fighter.
I had some bad luck in the UFC. Also, tested positive. Got a no contest in the UFC. Test in July of 2019 for some weed. Stupid. Then he gets a round 1 KO loss versus Jung Da-un, probably the best Korean fighter, or it might be Do Ho Choi, but that's a toss-up. But then comes back with a big KO win versus Marcin Prachnio in August. That was a good one.
That was a really good win.
Then the ridiculous fight, I don't know if you remember, he lost by submission by Kimura to Ed Herman in September after the bullshit low blow that should have been a TKO.
Oh,
Because it was really a body shot.
Yeah, it was a body shot.
And the ref messed up, called it a low blow, and Ed Herman just was like, okay, I'll grab my balls.
Yeah, and he was like, he goes, I didn't know where I got hit. I just know that it hurt.
Yeah.
My stomach hurt.
That was a TKO.
That was a TKO.
So that was upsetting there. He's had some tough luck, like I said.
I'm surprised he didn't try to get that at least turned to a no contest.
Yeah. But he just ate it.
No, my question would be, I mean, the answer is going to be no to this, but like, if they officially across the board eliminate marijuana as a drug testing, should you then eliminate all no contests?
Especially if there was a win.
Yeah, if it was a win.
You know what I mean? Yeah, if they actually had to fight and they won. Yeah, hell yeah.
I think so.
Turn it back to a stoppage. I agree. Danilo Marquez 1-0 in the UFC. Decision win versus Khadis Ibrahimov in August. That was a good debut. And I don't know.
I like Mike Rodriguez.
I do too. It's hard to bet against him. He's back and forth though. And he got the submission loss technically, so let's say he gets a win again. Mike Rodriguez.
All right, the main event of the prelims in the lightweight division, Michael Johnson, 20-16, going up against 35-17, Clay Guida. And I feel like if you're Mike Johnson and you gotta face Clay Guida, it's like you're on the hot seat
again. Like I said, you know what I mean? Last chance.
Michael Johnson hasn't had many wins.
We love him
recently. I love Michael Johnson. I think he's an excellent fighter. A lot of bad luck. He was on a great little tear where he was knocking people out, and then he got drunk and had a hangover from losing to Khabib.
Yeah, I think so. Had notable wins from Michael Johnson. Well, he's 11-11 in the UFC now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, 500 with numbers like that. That's something. I don't know. But, he's a fan favorite. He's performed great even against big names.
Yeah.
And,
he got a knockout over Dustin.
That's why he stays here. Yeah, notable wins. Decision win versus Tony Ferguson. Stoppage win versus Edson Barboza. And KO Dustin Poirier. Decision win versus Artem Lobov. Andre Fili. Michael Johnson been in every weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, he's suffered 3 losses in a row as of late. Big KO versus Josh Emmett. That would have put anyone to sleep.
Yeah. In a fight that he was winning and gassed out.
That's where a lot of his losses come from, his conditioning. You know what I mean? Where he hurts a guy.
And he looks like a dude who would have good conditioning, but he has very, very like whack condition.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like he just thinks he's gonna win. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's just relying on them hands.
but decision loss to Stevie Ray, that was the worst looking one, I think. And even though he got submitted in the early first round against Thiago Moises this past May with an ankle lock, but still the decision loss versus Stevie Ray was what did it for me. I didn't like that. Hasn't been the same in a long time.
Since Khabib.
Hard
he
to
lost
bet
to
on him.
Khabib, and then I remember he fought Gaethje, same thing. He was beating Gaethje up, and Gaethje with the fortitude just keeps pushing forward and ends up wearing him down and beating him down until he dropped to his butt.
And it was the cardio that failed him.
Yeah.
You know?
It seems like the thing for Mike.
If he had more cardio, he could have finished Gaethje.
Could have finished
Absolutely.
Gaethje. Probably could have put it to Emmett.
Where does that put him, too? Finishing guys like Gaethje and Emmett along that resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I always love about him is that he eats his shit whole. If you remember that press conference.
No! He eats his shit whole?
Some dude said something about eating shit like you for breakfast or something like that. And he was like, and one thing about me, boy, I eat my shit whole. And it was, one of them ones where everybody's up at the table and like multiple people just laughed like, well, what? That was a good one. It's a forever clip.
Awesome.
Clay Guida, 15-14 in the UFC.
So he's got a better record.
Technically. Record. Yes, more wins. More losses, but overall better.
Yeah.
Again, big wins. Nate Diaz, Anthony Pettis, BJ Penn.
Wait, he's beat these guys?
Yes. TKO wins versus, those were decision wins. TKO wins versus Rafael Dos Anjos, Joe Lozon. It's notable wins, notable losses to Charles Oliveira and Jim Miller as of late. And then his last fight, decision loss versus Bobby Green in June. So also on a 3-fight skid, as well as Michael Johnson. It's great time to match them up. Honestly.
It is a great time to match them up.
Looking at their record, looking at their wins and losses.
Yeah.
I
feel like it's either a retirement fight for Guida or a cut fight for Michael Johnson.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as I said, last chance.
Mm-hmm.
This whole card's like that. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Awesome, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Because what kind of emotion can you get out of a fighter with that? You know what I mean?
And what type of performance do you get from these two guys?
It leaves you in a place mentally. If you stay focused, like this really is your last chance. What kind of performance?
Yeah, what kind of performance do you see? I'm gonna give my boy Michael Johnson one last.
I don't think he's got it. I gotta go with Clay Guida on the cardio.
Yeah.
Out of
Clay Guida can go.
We almost described them right there as even, except that.
Yeah. This is true.
Clay never wilted.
And Clay doesn't really get put to sleep, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we know he can go 5 rounds.
Right.
And it's not even a 5-round fight.
Right.
So
he can get submitted, but Johnson ain't never gonna try it.
No. No.
Yeah. But I like it. But I gotta pick Guida. Yeah.
Alrighty. Alright, start the main card in the lightweight division. Carlos Diego Ferreira, 17-2, going up against 19-4-1, Beneil Dariush.
This is a great fight. I love this one. This might be fight of the whole card for me.
Really?
I love it. I love this fight a lot. Two guys that are really hungry to make it to the next step. Diego Ferreira, we haven't seen him as much because of injury, but great fighter. 8-2 in the UFC. Back in 2014, he lost by decision to Beneil Dariush, so it's a rematch fight here.
Okay.
Had also a KO loss to Dustin Poirier in 2015. Since then, 6 wins in a row, including Jared Gordon, Rustam Khabilov, submission win over Anthony Pettis. I believe maybe the only person to tap him. I'm not even sure about that.
Wow.
And that was his last fight, January of 2020. So inactive all of 2020.
Yeah, I don't think
after tapping Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, because before Max Holloway, nobody had knocked out Pettis, but I don't think Pettis has ever been finished.
Yeah.
But outside of Max Holloway, and then I forgot who got him the second time, but he definitely got finished. He's definitely been finished twice now. But
yeah,
wow,
Diego
that's
Ferreira
impressive. That's impressive.
got the rear naked choke on him January, last year. So inactive since then. But Neil Dariush been pretty active. Wins versus Michael Johnson, Jim Miller, Thiago Moises, Drew Dober, Frank Camacho, Drakkar Close, and Scott Holtzman. 4 KOs or submission in a row. So 4 stoppages straight. It's on a crazy tear. He used to be just a submission dude, but with the knockout of Camacho and Drakkar Close and Scott Holtzman, he's got 3 KOs and he tapped out Drew Dober.
Wow.
Dude's a threat. He turned the corner. Like, both of these fighters had that.
Yeah.
Had some losses.
And then turn the corner hard.
And,
This is a tough call.
it's either the next level or you go down or you know what I mean? Dariush been around a little bit longer, 13-4 in the UFC. Ferreira 8-2 in the UFC. Damn near the same record though.
I'll go with Carlos.
Damn near the same list. I gotta go with Dariush.
All right, nice split. In the featherweight division, Cody Stamann, 19-3-1, going up against 11-1, Askar.
Yeah, Askar. Not to be confused with the flyweight fighter Askar Askarov.
I thought it was. I had to click on his name to make sure they didn't cut it off.
Yeah, well, I was like, what did you name my boy wrong? And clicked on it, and the picture was different. I was like, that's not him. I know what he looks like.
Yeah.
Right? And plus, it's a featherweight fight. Cody Stamann, I guess, done with the bantamweight division. Seems like he's moving up here. 5-2-1 for Stamann in the UFC. He had a draw with Song Yadong. He's got wins over Brian Kelleher and Alejandro Perez. Decision loss versus Jimmy Rivera in July, though. Jimmy Rivera, fantastic fighter.
Yes.
And those were all at bantamweight. So here he is at featherweight now. Debut for Askar. I don't know a thing about it.
Nothing about it.
So we'll see.
I'm just gonna take a chance on him. Askar, it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him too because I don't like Stamann.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither.
He's a solid winner.
Yeah.
But he's a boring guy, and I don't think he's going much further. We'll see.
All right, in the flyweight division, Alexandre Pantoja. Is it Pantoja? Because it didn't look like I saw the J, and I was like, I don't remember his name being Alexandre. All right, Alexandre Pantoja, 22-5, going up against 15-4, Manel Kopp.
Yeah, Manel Kopp making his long-awaited kind of debut here. The Ryzen promotion in Japan actually had shut down during the pandemic. Never came back. Hasn't come back. He was the bantamweight champion.
Oh.
And everybody thought he would make his way somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's coming off 3 KOs in a row on his way to the Ryzen Bantamweight Championship, which was his last fight last year. And that was January, right before the pandemic hit and shut their whole business down. So, yeah, long anticipated debut here. I'm excited for it. Pantoja, 6-3 in the UFC. Flyweight contender since the flyweight division's been around. Decision win versus Brandon Moreno in 2018. Decision loss versus Davison Figueiredo in 2019. Huge KO in round 1 versus Matt Schnell in 2019. But decision loss versus the man Askar Askarov in this past July was his last fight.
Ooh. Interesting.
Right.
Interesting.
And dude, Askarov gets no love. Like,
no love.
Nobody even knows who he is. But he fought Brandon Moreno to a draw and beat the likes of Alexander Pantoja.
Interesting.
And he's ranked like number 3 in the flyweight division.
Oh, really?
And he should be.
Yeah.
If you ask me, with his resume,
Wow.
Yeah. Probably the best pure wrestler in the flyweight division. It's crazy. He gets no love because he don't talk. Well, in just like Pantoja, they're not active enough. I don't
Yeah.
like these guys that fight once a year.
Yeah, I feel like that is a big thing. If you're not fighting at least twice a year, like nobody really knows who you are.
Here he is trying to do a little better. He had the loss to Askarov in July, so, you know, we haven't seen Askarov since then. So Pantoja's at least, 7 months later.
You know what? The last time I misjudged a guy coming from another promotion, he surprised me.
Right.
I'm gonna let Mano surprise me again, and I'm gonna pick him.
I want to pick him too. I think I'm gonna go with him too. He's devastating striker, real power at flyweight, which not a lot of people possess,
Yeah.
except for like the champion. You know what I
Correct.
mean? And you see what that gives you at flyweight to possess that natural power.
Yep.
Gives you a big edge.
Super advantage.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. In the women's bantamweight division, Marion Renault, 9-6-1, going up against 7-1 Macy Chasen.
Yeah, it's the one fight that was canceled.
It was canceled. Ah,
Yeah.
man. I was
Would've made
excited
it
about
even,
that
right?
fight.
And it was like the only women's fight on the card, I think.
No.
Was it?
We have two. Molly
Oh,
on the
yeah,
main
the-
card.
oh, okay, yeah,
Molly
Molly
McCann
McCann.
and then Carol Rosa.
Oh, yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
There's,
So there was 3 total, now there's only 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes me feel better.
In the co-main event in the evening, this is a huge surprise to me. In the bantamweight division, Corey Sandhagen, 13-2, going up against 23-8-1 Frankie Edgar. But Corey Sandhagen just dusted Marlon Moraes.
Right.
How is he not either in title contention or fighting a top 3 guy?
I don't think that he's not in those things, but I think that Edgar asked for a big name after the Munoz fight. Maybe it was in his contract even to if he gets a win over Pedro Munoz,
Yeah.
he gets a big name. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And Sandhagen don't seem like the type of kid to turn anybody
Never
down.
turns nothing down.
Plus, the idea of beating a legend on his resume,
That's
it gives
valid. That's valid.
you a big thing.
That's
You
valid.
know, I think a lot of guys are scared to fight a legend who's making a resurgence because, if you get beat by the old guy, your run kind of stops.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of like Yair Rodriguez when he faced Frankie Edgar,
Right.
and Frankie Edgar dusted him.
Let that segue into Frankie Edgar's stats. 18-8 in the UFC, which is better than most veterans
Yep.
of the UFC. I mean, former lightweight champion,
Mhm.
then was at lightweight, featherweight, now at bantamweight.
Yep.
Got wins, big wins. The trilogy with Gray Maynard.
Mhm.
Win over Charles Oliveira at 155
Wow.
pounds. Beat Uriah Faber. KO'd Chad Mendez. Stopped Jeremy Stevens,
Yep.
one of the toughest dudes to stop. Stopped Yair Rodriguez.
Big time.
Decision wins over Cub Swanson twice. 3 wins over BJ Penn.
Damn.
3 times that he fought BJ Penn and won every time. He had the big loss versus Brian Ortega. First time he was ever stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Decision loss versus Max Holloway. Big stoppage loss against Korean Zombie.
Mm.
And wins the split decision versus Pedro Munoz this past August.
Yes.
Which is hard to agree with.
Yeah, it was hard to agree with.
Hard to argue with, but hard to agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Does that earn him the likes of Corey Sandhagen? No. Corey Sandhagen 6-1 in the UFC. Wins versus John Lineker. Rafael Assunção had the bad submission loss versus Aljamain Sterling in June, but then comes back in October to KO Marlon Moraes in spectacular fashion. And showed a better game than ever in that fight after his loss. I think he's only going to the top. I definitely see him as a title challenger.
Well, yeah, because you have Pelter Jan
Versus Aljamain
Aljamain Sterling. I would, in my mind, Corey Sandhagen is next in line.
And this could, if Frankie Edgar was to win this fight against Sandhagen, it could propel him to that spot.
Correct.
I
would not dispute that
because of Frankie Edgar's past and the likes of
Sandhagen. Yeah, what he did to Moraes was incredible. So, but I can't go against Sandhagen. I think he's got this.
Yeah, I think Corey can do it. Yeah, I mean, there's as I just run through it in my head, there's ways Frankie can win.
The wrestling.
I mean, he can always win. You know, it's Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
But
If he gets him on the ground, he could be in trouble.
and he's so tough, he's so hard to finish.
Yeah.
But Sandhagen, that kid's something else.
All right. In the main event of the evening, in the heavyweight division, Alistair Overeem, 47-18 with 1 no contest, going up against 32-8 Alexander Volkov. This seems to be a really good matchup.
I like this fight a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, last chance. And you can't hate on the Reem. The Reem looks pretty good lately.
Yes. He's been very good.
As far as the last opportunity at a title run, I mean, this is definitely it for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's fought everybody. 12-7 in the UFC. Fantastic record. Looks pretty good. Wins versus Frank Mir, Stefan Struve, Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovsky, Mark Hunt, Fabricio Verdun. Then, big losses to Stipe, Francis Ngannou, Curtis Blades.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
KO loss versus Rosenstrike. However, without that KO loss versus Rosenstrike,
He dominates him.
he has that whole fight in hand.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that one strike, and you could argue it was a little early on the stoppage. It was a good knockdown.
Yeah.
But he wasn't maybe out all the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But ain't mad about it. Besides that, though, without that, he would have 5 wins in a row because he seems to be a ground and pound wizard now.
Yeah.
Sergey Pavlovich.
And the ability to just throw people to the ground.
Yeah. His takedowns are fantastic. Pavlovich succumbed to the ground and pound in round 2. Alexei Oleinik, first round, I believe it was. Then Rosenstrike fight. But then he rebounds when he fights Walt Harris.
Yeah.
Again, with the ground and pound stoppage.
But also some great fortitude because he almost succumbed to his normal. Alistair Overeem gets knocked out.
Was in trouble.
But he used his veteran abilities and was able to hold on this time.
Right, and then same thing in the last fight, wore out Augusto Sakai, and then took him down, beat him up with nasty ground and pound and got a stoppage. Yes. He's a big threat, and you can never, doubt that he can knock you out on the feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Volkov, 6-2. He's a new beast, and I don't know. I like this kid a lot. Super, super huge striker with big power.
Mm-hmm.
Super long. KO wins.
Good cardio.
KO wins versus Stefan Struve. Getting better at the wrestling. KO'd Fabricio Verdun. Suffered the bad KO loss to Derek Lewis when he was winning that fight.
Mm-hmm.
But got hit with a nasty shot. And still almost survived until he ate the shots on the ground. But then responds with a great decision win versus Greg Hardy. Great fight against Curtis Blades where he tried everything. Never gave in. Like his will was never broken.
Yeah.
No matter how long Curtis Blades was just humping his legs.
Oh man.
Because he definitely was.
He was
real scared to trade.
Yeah, he was laying and praying on him. Yeah.
He was real scared to trade with Volkov, and but then responds in the last fight with the huge TKO of Walt Harris with the body kick, perfectly placed, nasty.
That was that the front kick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
they thought it might have been a low blow at first, but it was so perfect.
It was so perfect.
Yeah. I don't know. Reem got to take him down.
Reem's got to take him down. But
I think he could do it there because of what we've seen.
Yeah.
Against the likes of Blades. You know what I mean? That he can be controlled on the ground. Blades is perhaps a different level of wrestler than Reem. I mean, Reem, like we said, his takedowns have become really good, but as good as Curtis Blades.
See, and I will say this. I almost disagree with that statement. It's not that they're so good. He's just so strong. He's just ripping people to the ground.
And he's doing it awkwardly.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's not about technique. It's about pure brute strength. And he has the cardio to back it up, which is cool.
He's never going away in a 5-round fight.
Yeah, so I think that if he can keep it on the ground, he has a chance. But I feel like after
He's got
what
a big
Blades did,
chance to stop Volkov. But yeah, I think with the wrestling defense that he showed in the Blades fight and the ground and pound defense, you know, to not get hurt against Curtis Blades, and how many times did he stand back up, even though Blades put him back down?
And I think Volkov has what it takes to keep the distance.
I think he's improved a hell of a lot since then, too. I mean, he had to fight the likes of Walt Harris. I know he wasn't worried about the takedown down then, but I'm sure he continued to add to his wrestling ability in that camp. And
I think Volkov has what it takes to keep this as a kickboxing match.
I totally agree. And I think, you know, if Volkov loses, he can still make a further run. He's a young guy, but this is last chance for Overeem.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I think he will retire if he loses. You know, I think that's like a definite, especially with the way.
I mean, he did say that it was a last run.
With the way his interviews have been, this is a last run. You know, I think Volkov's gonna get him.
I gotta go with Volkov.
I'm not distance striking.
No matter how
it's too powerful.
Well, no matter what corners Overeem turns, I believe he always has that. There's always gonna be that the end of the road, and I believe Volkov is the end of the road for him, because after Volkov, he can't face any of the competition above that.
Right.
So
I don't have a timer going because
I don't have a timer going either. So I think we're in good time to talk about some news.
Yeah, I think we got a little time.
And stretch it out. I know we wanted to talk about the mess going on in the lightweight division.
It's confusing.
It's super confusing.
I'm kind of confused about a lot of championships. Like, there seems to be a lot of stalemates going on. With that division, especially.
Especially that division.
Because of the talent.
We obviously know, with the win over Conor McGregor, and the fact that he was at one point the interim champ, you gotta give Dustin Poirier the honorary interim lightweight champ.
Right.
So now we need to find him an opponent. When Khabib first vacated the title, you have 6 names on the list.
Well, that's the thing, because Dana hasn't called it vacated. He's still listed as a champion.
He is still listed as a champion, but every single bit of news we've gotten from Dana White, Khabib said if he saw something interesting. Well, Khabib said he didn't see nothing interesting.
Enough.
He didn't see anything interesting. He says he's leagues above these guys. So I believe that whether you want to call it a cop-out, whether you want to call it his belief in himself, I don't think Khabib is going to return.
I agree.
Maybe if you see someone go on a title run, you know, say Poirier gets it and he wins 2 or 3 fights, or he loses his next fight, and that person, whoever it is, runs the title for maybe 4 or 5 fights. Maybe Khabib comes in and says, "No, I'm the real champ. Let me just prove it to you real quick." I don't know, but I think Khabib has a business to run. A fight promotion that he wants to get guys into the UFC through, and I have zero belief in a return from him in the imminent future.
Yeah, I see him just moving on to things. You know, they talk about the George St. Pierre fight, which I don't even.
The only reason I will say this is the only way I would want to see George St. Pierre fight Khabib, and that would be in a submission exhibition match.
Yeah, okay.
Like
a grappling match.
match.
Because that's what we want to see them face off against.
Exactly. I mean, Khabib is a submission expert. George St. Pierre is a submission expert.
Yeah.
So no punching. Just see a grappling match. I would love to see that.
Because that's why people want them to fight anyways. Because they're probably the 2 most dominant grappling champions.
Correct.
You know.
So I would love to see something the likes of that, but beyond that, I don't really want to see George St. Pierre.
You know, George never made 155, never looked like he could make 155. Why would Khabib go up to 170? I don't like any of it.
I don't like any of it at all.
I always thought it was silly.
Yeah.
But I don't like the stalemate of there being no announcement of who is going to fight for the title.
Correct.
Or because Dana just wants somebody to fight Khabib for the title. But like you said, he's not coming back. Dustin obviously deserves to be number 1 for the title.
Yeah. And now he needs an opponent.
Who fights him?
Now, the only names on the list when Khabib said he was retiring, Dustin Poirier, Conor.
Right.
Charles Oliveira, Tony Ferguson.
Yes.
Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler.
Right.
And people kind of put Dan Hooker's name in there.
Right.
Well, Chandler just dusted Dan Hooker
Right.
in what could be argued a flawless victory.
Right. Chandler eliminated that argument.
So that argument's done.
And made sure to put his name up in there. Yeah.
Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira have both in embarrassing form, dusted Tony Ferguson. He's out the list.
Right. So that knocks Tony down to the bottom.
To the bottom of the list.
Even below Chandler.
Yeah, even below Chandler.
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing.
KO.
I wouldn't mind seeing Tony Ferguson fight Chandler.
Right.
That's a fight, or Conor McGregor to kind of give himself #1 contention spot.
I do think Tony still deserves a big fight.
Yes.
But is he in talk for the title fight now? No.
No.
Okay.
The only thing that makes sense to me.
So he's down. I mean, Conor just got beat.
Yep.
Do you run the trilogy for the lightweight title?
No.
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 I don't agree that Conor deserves that either. So we agree on that.
So the only thing I see making sense.
We got the two guys that beat Tony Ferguson.
Justin Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira to fight Poirier for the title.
I absolutely like them fighting for the #1 contender spot. I mean, Poirier has the stoppage win over Gaethje.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he beat Oliveira?
No, Oliveira untested against Khabib, though,
Mm-hmm.
as Poirier and Gaethje and Conor are.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We also could have said that before about Tony, but he's been tested against Gaethje and Oliveira and failed that.
And failed those tests.
Yeah. I mean,
So that to me the only thing that makes sense. You got
because of Chandler beating Hooker doesn't put him in the title shot exactly.
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't mind him fighting Justin Gaethje, whereas Gaethje has the loss to Poirier and loss to Khabib.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And Oliveira doesn't have either of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Me personally, I think Oliveira is the only person who.
if you're gonna make a title fight now,
Yeah, right now. If you said right now, who's the title fighter? Charles Oliveira has had the best rise. No fall.
Yeah.
He
it's
literally
Oliveira
dusted.
versus Poirier.
Yeah, he literally dusted the dude who was supposed to fight Khabib before Gaethje took the fight.
Right.
So that to me makes the most sense. If you need a fight to prove someone fights Dustin Poirier, then the only fight that makes sense to me in my mind is Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira.
And I agree with that because Chandler doesn't deserve Oliveira over beating Hooker.
Correct.
I mean, there's an argument for that.
There's always an
But
argument because it's exciting.
I don't agree with it because of what Oliveira is earned, and he seems to be in a place that he wants nothing but a title fight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he thinks he's.
I would like to see him face. I mean, there was talk of him versus Ferguson.
They actually offered, I heard, for the next pay-per-view coming, Usman versus Burns. There was talk of a short notice fight between Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira.
Oh,
On
I'm
that
Oliveira, I
card.
turned that down.
And he did.
Yeah,
Because #1, short notice don't make sense, especially against that opponent.
yeah.
You know? So,
I wouldn't accept that fight.
right, and that's exactly what the camp said, that respectfully, it has nothing to do with being worried about Michael
Mhm.
Chandler. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I
But
agree.
it doesn't do nothing for his career. Right. I think he would say the same against the Justin Gaethje fight. So that leaves things in more of a stalemate.
Yeah.
You know, because you got guys saying, like Poirier saying, no, Chandler's not worthy of getting a title shot against me unless he beats one of these other guys. You know what I mean? And everybody agrees, even Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
You know, and Oliveira wants Poirier for the title. That's it. He's got his mind locked on that.
Yeah.
And Poirier said, "No, he ain't ready for it." He said, "Let Chandler and Oliveira fight for that belt, and then maybe he'll want to fight one of them."
See, I gotta disagree with Dustin Poirier here. Charles Oliveira has beaten high-level competition. If there was anybody who does deserve the immediate shot, it would be Charles. Because, I mean, Charles Oliveira, if Khabib doesn't retire,
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira is the next dude to fight Khabib.
And I think it's because, though, I think the mindset comes from everybody who's right at the top
fought Khabib. But you fought Khabib and lost, so you've proven nothing.
Right. So I don't know. I think they measure like a lightweight fighter by like whether they fought Khabib or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that
which is dumb because
that is dumb.
one, he's gone.
And if you want to be realistic, like
Oliveira
Michael Johnson knocked out Poirier and almost knocked out Khabib, so technically he did better than you. So should he not get to fight you since he has beat
That's
you?
what I mean, if that's the standard.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a tough one to me. I gotta say the only thing that can make sense to me in any world is that Charles Oliveira fights Justin
I'm okay
Gaethje.
with I'm okay with like Oliveira wanting just Poirier,
Yeah,
and I
me
think
too.
that Poirier should accept it.
He should accept it
You know,
because
the more I think about it, I don't have a problem with that being for the lightweight title. Oliveira has proved enough. Dustin obviously has. He has to fight for the title. Who else better than Oliveira?
and I give Poirier that you are the guy who fights because you were the interim champ and you knocked out Conor. The only person to finish Conor in the lightweight division was Khabib.
I do believe that there will be the UFC bias continue to be UFC bias for Khabib and Conor, which they have.
Yeah.
So I have a nasty feeling that they're gonna force this trilogy fight to be
A
for the lightweight
championship fight.
title.
Man, that's a tough one. Because, I mean, okay, he did only beat Conor once, and Conor did knock him out.
He got the pole.
Yeah, he does got pulled. And his name rings out. I would say this. I wouldn't hate the rematch. And hypothetically speaking, Conor, they do the rematch and Conor knocks out Poirier. Like, does that make him any less of a champ because he kind of skipped the line?
Yeah.
Conor is a habitual line skipper.
He is.
So
He is.
he's a habitual line skipper. So, I mean, it is what it is. His name rings out and it sells pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest pay-per-view match was him versus Khabib. So realistically, it makes sense. So, but I personally, as a fan, I want to see Charles Oliveira get the title shot versus Poirier. As a realist, I think him and Justin Gaethje make the most sense to see who fights Poirier.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, can we just get a title shot going on?
Absolutely. You know.
Even if it's Michael Chandler. At the end of the day, I just want to see the light heavyweight division have a title.
Lightweight division. Yeah.
Lightweight division have a title.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Something just has to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't like the stalemate stuff because it leaves guys in waiting. Because what happens if they make this trilogy be for the title? Then Oliveira says, "No, I don't want to fight Gaethje. I don't want to fight nobody unless it's for the winner of this title shot."
Then Charles Oliveira gets pushed out the way.
Then he got to sit and wait, and then he loses his, shot, or he fights Gaethje like Tony did, and then loses his shot because he gets his face mashed, and then he's never the same again.
I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
if you fight Justin Gaethje and you lose, then even if you could beat Dustin Poirier, Gaethje was going to come take the title from you anyway. So,
Perhaps.
Yeah. So, I mean, granted, winning is winning, but
That should be how the outlook.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That whoever's there and deserves to fight you, you should just fight them.
Yeah.
Like,
Because if you think you're championship material,
process
you could beat anybody, yeah.
And then process of elimination.
which is why
make
I
you the
respect
champ.
Tony Ferguson for even taking the fight against Justin Gaethje
Right.
instead of waiting for Khabib, because he could have fought Khabib, and what if he could have beat Khabib? What if Tony Ferguson is the answer to Khabib, and not only did he not get his opportunity, he's probably never going to get it again.
Right.
So that's
a
a tough
lot,
one.
A lot of interesting stuff in that division,
Yeah.
and I hope they figure that out. You know.
And we got one or two other pieces of news.
Yeah, if we want to talk about it, we might
can
be
throw it in
over
there.
time now. We could give a minute to talk about Ben Askren and
Mm.
Jake Paul. I guess it's combat sports.
It is combat sports news. We did talk about when he fought Nate Diaz. So
Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson.
Yeah,
I said
it is.
Nate Diaz.
It is a pro boxing match.
is a
They
pro
both
boxing
have to
match.
get licensed.
Yeah.
April 18th, I believe, the date that I seen last time. I don't know who else. They'll probably throw some other people on the card.
It surprises me that Ben Askren would take this fight. One, you have terrible boxing.
They offered him big money. It sounds like.
I mean, I would assume so.
And he's just gonna fight for money. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think because he's looking at it that he probably can't get much more embarrassed.
If you lose to an internet sensation boxer, like, I feel like that is more embarrassing.
Maybe not to him. You know what I mean? We don't know what the man had to really go through after taking that flying knee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then the submission lost to Damian Maia.
After being unstoppable.
Yeah.
Even his confidence. Like, he had the real confidence.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
That genuine confidence.
Yeah.
But then he said...
And then got genuinely humble.
Yeah, and then he said the only reason why he was even fighting, he said he didn't like to fight, he liked to win.
Right.
And now you're gonna go for a third loss?
Yeah, I don't know, because nothing that I've ever seen from Ben Askren tells me that he could beat Jake Paul in boxing.
No.
It's like, I think he's gonna get beat up.
Oh, I think he's gonna get pummeled.
You know?
Like, I don't think it will be as bad as what happened to Nate Robinson. I don't think he's...
Because of the fortitude of Askren. I mean, how much did the flying knee take away from him? I don't know. Maia hit him with a bunch of good shots that he took.
I don't think it's as much about his I don't think it's gonna be
He
about
had a
his
really
chin.
good chin before the Masvidal fight. He displayed a
Yes.
lot of chin
And
in
I
the
mean,
one championship.
A solid flying knee to the neck is probably
That
gonna
was
knock
gonna-
out anybody.
And he'd come running across the ring.
Yeah, like two trains
That was a
collided.
car crash.
Yeah. So okay, but you're not like, I mean, unless you've been like for some reason hardcore training in boxing, your boxing skills were terrible. I don't want to say terrible, but they were bad.
Really bad. The only thing he ever concentrated on was throwing punches to enter for a takedown.
Correct.
And
there's no takedowns here.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You can't get a couple of months of striking training and think that you can beat up a kid who's naturally fast and naturally powerful. A lot younger than you. A lot younger than you. Shows good composure. You know, mixes it up. Like, he fights for real. And I think he's got some decent enough skills to knock out the likes of Ben Askren.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, beating a real fighter like Ben Askren, like, that just propels him up higher, because he was it was his brother who was supposed to fight. Was it him?
They said they're postponed.
Yeah.
But they still want to make it happen. I don't.
But
know.
is it him or is it his brother?
His brother Logan is supposed
Logan.
to fight Mayweather, I guess.
See that, and that's weird to me too. You got Jake Paul on the rise in the boxing, the celebrity boxing career. Like, why would you like? I feel like that's the money fight, not Logan.
Anyways, about the fake boxing. Before we run out, Lynn's own Ronald Akeem Ellis.
Yeah.
In March. Showtime main event.
Wow.
I forget the name of his opponent. We'll talk about it some more for sure. We'll give the whole rundown coming up on
Definitely.
that. In the camp with Canelo Alvarez and Andy Ruiz.
Really?
Yeah, he ain't playing around.
Nice.
Looking ready. I seen him on the Facebook earlier. He's looking ready, taking it serious. You know, big
That's
step.
awesome.
Showtime main event is big step.
Yeah, that's
He's
a
the
huge
main
step.
event.
That's a huge step. So wow.
This is the next step.
Nice.
Pay-per-view after that.
And, slightly off topic, just real quick. Super Bowl this weekend.
Right.
Tampa Bay or Tom Brady versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So we just want to bring that up. Hope you guys are watching the game.
I love that.
Outside of that, we got nothing left for you. So until next week, we'll see you in the Octagon.
Peace.
Have a good night.